Rudy Giuliani has always been a controversial figure. He has received credit for cleaning up New York City and leading the city through 9/11, but has also been criticized for a number of controversial stances and unhinged television appearances. It's time to learn some facts about this divisive figure. Anyone who's ever caught an episode of Law & Order Special Victims Unit is likely very familiar with the Perp walk, when people who are suspected but not yet convicted of committing a crime are paraded in front of the media as they enter a courthouse. Per Reuters, the practice has been called downright undemocratic and has often been criticized. As Reuters also explained in 2011, the Perp walk gained prominence as a practice during Rudy Giuliani's time as United States Attorney for the Southern District of New York in the 1980s, when he was responsible for prosecuting high-profile criminal cases. Criminal law professor Laurie Levinson told the outlet that Giuliani made an art form out of parading defendants in front of the cameras. As U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York in the 1980s, Rudy Giuliani was involved in busting several major players in the mafia. And according to Giuliani himself, he nearly got whacked for doing so. As The Telegraph reported in 2014, an informant confirmed to Italian investigators that the then head of the Cosa Nostra had indeed planned to murder Giuliani, though the plan was cancelled for fear of the American authorities getting involved. The New Yorker also disclosed in 2018 that the leaders of the infamous 5 families in New York City nearly reached an agreement to have Giuliani taken out, until a deciding vote from mob boss Vincent the Chin Gigante thwarted that plan too. In 1968, Rudy Giuliani married one Regina Peruggi, who was his father's first cousin's daughter. In other words, she was Giuliani's second cousin. The couple were married for 14 years until Giuliani filed for an annulment in 1982. The bizarre nature of Giuliani's first marriage entered the spotlight once again in May 2018, when host of Last Week Tonight's John Oliver brought it up for comedic fodder on his show. Oliver noted the implausibility of Giuliani's claim that he only discovered that he and Peruggi were related after many years of marriage. After divorcing Regina Peruggi, Rudy Giuliani married Donna Hanover in 1984 and then announced their impending separation after 16 years of marriage during a 2000 press conference, which, as the New York Times reported at the time, was all news to her. As Slate detailed, an irate Hanover, who had 2 children with Giuliani, went on to accuse the then mayor of having an affair with a staffer, a claim he denied because, in fact, he was carrying on a relationship with a woman named Judith Nathan. Giuliani went into attack mode, as Slate reported in the same article, quote, publicly stripping Hanover of her First Lady duties and insisting that the judge was wrong to keep Nathan apart from his children.
Integrity. That's the first quality that comes to mind when I think of Rudy. He's honest, and he's very kind.
Fast forward to April 2018, and per the New York Daily News, Judith Nathan had filed for divorce from Giuliani after 15 years of marriage. The contentious April 2018 split between Rudy and Judy Giuliani took a turn for the worst in November 2018, when Judy accused her ex-husband of infidelity. She also claimed he spent an excessive amount of money on his supposed paramour, Maria Rosa Ryan. In court documents obtained by NBC4 New York, Judy apparently claimed that Rudy spent more than $286,000 on Maria Rosa Ryan in the time period between April 2018 and November 2018, although it's not clear how it was used. Additionally, she accused him of splurging over $12,000 on cigars and over $7,000 on pens, of all things.
Would anyone like to sign these? I have a lovely pen.
Unfortunately for the warring exes, there doesn't seem to be an end in sight. Their feud continued through July 2019 when they fought over, wait for it, Christmas decorations. Judy's friend alleged to Page Six that Rudy is keeping, quote, a huge walk-in closet of decorations from his ex, including family heirlooms. In response, Rudy claimed he was in the process of returning the holiday hoard and that it was likely in transit. He also joked, there's a lot of time before Christmas, unless she wants to celebrate it on August 25th this year, in which case I will expedite the shipment. Reports of tension between Rudy Giuliani and Hillary Clinton have proliferated since the two briefly ran against each other as candidates for New York Senator in 2000. Giuliani has been taking swipes at Clinton as recently as March 2018, when he made a tasteless joke about the former Secretary of State's weight at a benefit at President Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago club. And yet, in 2016, Politico reported that Giuliani's daughter Caroline was a hardcore supporter of Clinton in her bid for president. When reached for comment, Caroline told the outlet, "I love Hillary. I think she's by far the most qualified candidate that we've had in a long while. My dad knows. I was for Barack Obama in 2012. He knows and is fully comfortable with it and thinks I have the right to my opinion." In addition to his ongoing issues with Hillary Clinton, Rudy Giuliani has entered into numerous public spats over the years. The following is just a sample. In 2011, as Salon reported, Giuliani derided then-Governor of New Jersey, Chris Christie, for not heading back to his home state to help with the snow cleanup after a blizzard. To which Christie replied, "It's easy when you are out of office to be shooting from the peanut gallery when you no longer have any responsibility." In 2012, Giuliani sounded off on then Vice President Joe Biden on several occasions.
This vice president has made more dumb, stupid, idiotic comments than anyone. He's an embarrassment.
Slate reported that in 2002, Giuliani made similar comments about the vice president, saying, "I have never seen a vice president that has made as many mistakes, said as many stupid things." It's possible he was still smarting from then-Senator Biden's assessment in a 2007 Democratic presidential primary debate.
Rudy Giuliani, there's only three things he mentioned in a sentence, a noun and a verb and 9/11.
Giuliani aired his grievances against, of all people, Beyoncé, when he appeared on Fox & Friends in August 2016 to criticize her recent performance at the MTV Video Music Awards. Bizarrely, that wasn't even the first time he'd publicly spoken out against one of Beyoncé's performances. He'd previously slammed the singer's Super Bowl performance during an appearance on Fox & Friends, saying, "I think it's outrageous. The halftime show I thought was ridiculous anyway. I don't know what the heck it was. A bunch of people bouncing around and strange things." On the other hand, maybe he was just jealous that he wasn't invited on stage with everyone else.
Come on, Rudy. Come on, Rudy! All right!
In a 2000 video clip, then Mayor Rudy Giuliani appears in drag as a woman named Rudia, attempting to seduce Donald Trump. In character, Giuliani splashes perfume on himself and then, to put it bluntly, Trump sticks his face into the character's bosom. Giuliani reacts by slapping him on the cheek. According to Business Insider, the bizarre skit was filmed as part of the Mayor's Inner Circle Press Roast, an annual parody event where the mayors of New York City are encouraged to show off their, quote, lighter side. This wasn't the first time that Giuliani had dressed in drag for laughs. In 1997, the New York Times reported that the mayor appeared on stage at that year's Inner Circle roast in high heels, a full-figured spangled pink gown, a platinum blonde wig, and several pounds of makeup. And who said mayors didn't know how to throw a party? Before his death in May 2017, Manuel Noriega was best known as the former dictator of Panama, which he ruled between 1983 and 1989. Lesser known, however, is his face-off with Rudy Giuliani over a video game. As the Associated Press reported in September 2014, Giuliani, who was then back to practicing law full-time at his own firm, agreed to help Activision Blizzard Inc. by requesting that a Los Angeles judge drop a lawsuit Noriega had filed against the video game company. Noriega's complaint? His likeness had been used without permission in the 2012 game Call of Duty Black Ops 2.
This is not a deal. Call your boss.
Giuliani told the press, "I am outraged that Noriega is seeking millions and millions of dollars that he can take down to a Panamanian prison from a great American company." Per The Guardian, Giuliani even used himself as an example of why historical figures shouldn't attempt to profit from the use of their likeness, saying, "I was the mayor of New York, and during that time I created a history, and people have the right to write about that accurately, inaccurately, and in a fictional way. I have no financial rights to recover for that." As CNN reported, Noriega's lawsuit was dismissed in October 2014. In a statement, Giuliani noted, "This is not just a win for the makers of Call of Duty, but is a victory for works of art across the entertainment and publishing industries throughout the world." Rudy Giuliani's time as mayor of New York City was marked by a particularly strange and, thanks to the internet, infamous cause, the anti-Ferret move.
What's the matter?
What is that?
Oh, excuse me, I forgot to tell you. This is my ferret. He don't bite, don't worry.
As Slate explained in June 1999, the Giuliani administration lauded over ferret owners when the New York Board of Health voted to include them on its list of banned creatures, continuing a law that many deemed unnecessarily stringent. A month later, a pro-ferret activist called into the mayor's radio show, prompting Giuliani to go into a tirade against the animals and the activist.
This excessive concern with little weasels is a sickness.
Then, in 2001, the New York City Council voted to legalize ferret ownership, though Giuliani continued his vendetta and immediately vetoed the rule. When asked in 2014 about New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio's potential move to legalize ferrets, Giuliani told the New York Times he'd be okay with it if there was any scientific evidence to back up the decision. The ferret ban continues to this day. Rudy Giuliani's role in the impeachment inquiry against President Donald Trump appears to go far beyond what triggered the whole thing. Trump's now infamous phone call with Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky. It's a complicated situation with many players and allegations, especially where it concerns the former New York City mayor. According to the New York Times, Giuliani worked with Ukraine businessmen and officials to dig up potentially damaging information about Joe Biden's son, Hunter Biden, who once worked for a controversial Ukrainian energy company, Burisma Holdings. Although it's not illegal for a personal attorney to investigate a political opponent, as NPR justice reporter Ryan Lucas noted, it's problematic for a president to personally direct this type of investigation. It also doesn't help that Trump, after allegedly asking Zelensky to look into the Bidens, encouraged him to speak with Giuliani. A transcript of the call reveals Trump as saying, "Rudy very much knows what's happening, and he is a very capable guy. If you could speak to him, that would be great." Giuliani has denied any wrongdoing, however, telling the New York Times of his Ukraine dealings, "We're not meddling in an election, we're meddling in an investigation, which we have a right to do." In September 2019, US House Democrats subpoenaed Rudy Giuliani in regards to President Donald Trump's phone call with Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky. The Democrats leading Trump's impeachment inquiry want more information about Giuliani's possible role in the call, especially since he's admitted to asking Ukraine to investigate Biden. The ex-mayor was asked to produce documents related to the matter on August 15, 2019. On the deadline, however, Giuliani said he'd ignored the subpoena. According to ABC News, he said, "If they enforce it, then we will see what happens." So what could happen if Giuliani continues to ignore it? The possibilities include a potential year in jail and a $100,000 fine. And if Congress goes after the ex-mayor for dodging the subpoena, it's unlikely the Trump administration would actually prosecute him for it, according to MarketWatch. If this is the case, the matter could head to federal court. Bottom line, it's never a good idea to ignore a subpoena, especially when you're a lawyer. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more Nicki Swift videos about your favorite celebs are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.